Florida and South Florida get set to do battle down in Gainesville. We are here previewing, predicting, and breaking down this game between the Gators and the Bulls. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips. He's Cole the Bear Thompson. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast or get your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. And as always, we are powered by our friends over at FANDUEL. Visit FANDUEL.com/SECU to join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FANDUEL.com/SECU to get $250 in bonus bets today. It's a non-conference clash between two Florida teams as the Gators and Bulls get set to do battle down in Gainesville. We are here previewing, predicting, and breaking down this game between Florida and South Florida. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips. As always, joining me, my good friend, my co-host, my colleague, Cole the Bear Thompson. He's back once again. Bear, what's going on, man? Appreciate you taking the time. Really excited to talk this matchup with you. A game that I don't think you and I were sure we'd be talking about going into the season, at least together. But after what South Florida did in week one, it felt necessary. This is a big interstate clash of two Florida programs.
The quest for the G5 representation in the college football playoff continues on Saturday for South Florida because if they got a top 25 win over Boise State, regardless of how Boise State finishes the year, it's top 25 win. You got two more opportunities to get signature upsets over Miami and Florida in this matchup. At that point, if you win the American Conference, I don't know what else to say. This is your G5 representative. Credit where credit's due to how Alex Golesh continues to build this program. He is a power forward coach in the waiting. And the best part is, if you were down in South Florida, you don't have to worry about him leaving anytime soon. It's the right job. He's not just going to take any opening to get to another school. He is content. He is built. He is excited about the direction of the program. They may be a threat in the American for a long time. But Florida's coming off a 55-0 victory over Long Island. There was a lot of highlight moments in this game, a lot of things that you walk away if you're a Florida fan feeling excited about. And I get it, it's Long Island, but now you get to do it against a more compelling team. It's another step in the right direction that could lead you to an opportunity really to set the tone for you.
Well, and listen, you did it against Long Island, and DJ Lagway was healthy, played a full half of football. That is a great sign, obviously, for the Gators. He is rear and ready, good to go for this one. Saturday, September the 6th, kickoff, Bear, 3:15 Central on the SEC Network down in Gainesville at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, a.k.a. the Swamp. Florida is a 17.5-point favorite in this one. The over-under set at 53.5. Bear, the series history, Florida leads at all time 3-0. Last meeting came in 2022. Florida won that game 31-28. A close ball game. South Florida gave them all they wanted, but the Gators held on to win it. Bear, as we talk about this game, and you mentioned what South Florida did, we need to note it in week one. They beat Boise State 34-7. You know, this was a game. I was actually kicking myself for not taking South Florida plus 5.5. I had a couple buddies that said, hey, doubting the Broncos. I was like, I don't know if I can get all the way there. They crushed them. I mean, they flat out crushed them, dominated start to finish. Byron Brown just took the college football world by storm, 16-24, 210 yards in that game. Chaz Nimrod was great on the outside, 3 for 96. Kashawn Singleton, 5 for 93 and a touchdown, again, at the receiver position. You had Alvon Isaac, who was a big factor in the run game, but Byron Brown with his legs too, man, 14 for 43. 2 touchdowns. He looked like Marshawn Lynch beast mode out there a couple times, just shedding wimpy tacklers. We'll see if he can do that against the Gators defense. But, Bear, I want to start with this. Winning these interstate matchups is so important. I mean, it's so important. And, again, I think the vibe of this game is interesting because you are a 17.5-point favorite. I think we all expected coming into the season, like, we chalked this up as a win. Everybody chalked this up as a win. I don't think there was anybody out there picking South Florida to go into the Swamp, pull the upset. But it's important how you look in these games, right? Like, hey, we saw it was a big week one for Florida, Florida State, Miami, South Florida. Hey, is Florida football, the state of Florida, is it back? I guess we'll see. We'll have to wait down the road. But massive to go out there and establish, hey, South Florida, Alex Golesh, all respect. You guys might have a great year. You might be the G5 rep, but you're not on our level. Like there's a sense of pride, I think, in games like this, Bear, when it comes to establishing hierarchy in the state of Florida.
I agree. The other thing that I will say is that a win like this is just better for the resume if you are South Florida. Now, we'll get to Florida in a moment because Florida, again, it could end up being a massive win for them in their race to the college football playoff. But you got to look at this from the perspective of we don't know where the G5 representation is going to come this year. Texas A&M beat UTSA. UTSA may be a really solid team in the American Conference. We don't know what we're going to get from Tulane. They just got a Power 4 win over Northwestern. That's a very fun team. But you potentially getting 2 wins against top 25 opponents ultimately is going to set the tone. Because number one, it's going to show voters and the committee that you're willing to schedule challenging games against opponents that you don't know what they are. And we maybe hyped for Boise State. And who knows what we're going to say about Florida, but going into this game, it's a top 20 team. It certainly is going to end up potentially being a top 15 team when the AP poll rankings come out. So you have an opportunity to have 2 wins against quality opponents and then run through your conference schedule. That's a benefit. And the other benefit is that in a new age of NIL, where a coach doesn't have to leave to go get better resources at a new school. He doesn't have to go to the boosters and say, I need X amount of dollars, but we can't afford that. When there are deals that can be done with companies, with players, there's a lot of names that could be sitting as a freshman 3-star wanting to go to Florida and wait for 2 years to become a starter, compete through practice. You can show up and say, we beat Florida with freshmen and sophomores. Sign up here. We'll get you an NIL deal that's promising. We can build something here that is very sustainable and one thing that you can be a part of that becomes history in the books of Bulls football. Those are things that I think a coach like Alex Golesh has and an opportunity that you see. It's massive in terms of being able to not just win your state on the recruiting grounds, but also just to have bragging rights in your state. And if somehow you're able to get a win over Miami too, 3 top 25 wins to begin the year, you might as well just say, all right, where are we going in week 1 for the college football playoff after this matchup?
Bears, we look at the matchup as a whole, something to keep an eye on. Caleb Banks for Florida did not play in game 1. Was that precautionary? I mean, certainly you felt pretty confident against Long Island that we were going to be able to win with or without him. Not going to risk anything, obviously, but interested to see if he's back in the Florida front 7 against Byron Brown, right? I mean, that I think is a key matchup in this game. Obviously, Byron Brown is a guy with his escapability, with his rushing ability. I mean, we saw it in that first game. Passing ability, solid too. I mean, he is one of those players, really, really fun to watch. I think the big question probably we have, Bear, is what's the help like around him in this football game? He's going to need other guys to step up around him, but excited to get a look at Byron Brown. How does he build off that big performance against Boise State? And what's the Gators' answer defensively? Because I think the front 7 was something you and I were pretty high on. Grayson Pup-Howard at the linebacker position, Tyreek Sapp, Caleb Banks, especially if you're getting him back. I think that should be a pretty fun duel and a pretty fun battle in the trenches there going up against the South Florida signal caller.
What I want to look at from South Florida's perspective, Byron Brown's going to do Byron Brown things. We know that. If he's healthy, he can make a game alter in about 5 seconds by just his utilization of his legs, the mobility, the arm strength. But the thing is that I really want to see this rushing attack from South Florida have a second punch. Because Byron Brown finished with 2 rushing touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was, 2 rushing touchdowns. He had like 14 carries. Alvin Isaac only had 3 carries, but he led the team in rushing yards because he had 2 explosive runs at 15 yards downfield. 3 explosive runs at 15 yards downfield. So do you have more of that continuity on the ground game that allows you to trust him to be your lead back? And then when things go south or awry, you then have to go to Byron Brown. On the opposing side, do you have somebody spy Byron Brown? That's going to be a really big deal. Like a guy such as Harold Perkins was so beneficial in Saturday night's game for Clemson because if he was able to keep Kate Klubnik in check. Klubnik's not a runner. He can run. He is a good mobile quarterback, but we don't know him for his mobility. We know him for his passing presence. Byron Brown's a runner. To have that guy basically say, you go left, I go left. You go right, I go right. You're going backwards, I'm following you up. So that way you are not getting past me. Could be really beneficial for Florida if they want to set the tone in this game. If they want to make this a matchup to where they take away one of the biggest elements of what makes South Florida a dynamic offense and forces them to either run it with Isaac or trust Brown's arm to connect with Nimrod, to connect with the other several targets that they have. Whoever it may be stepping on up for the Bulls is that number 2 receiver. That's going to be critical. Do you have a guy, though, that can go ahead and spy on a Byron Brown to take away his rushing element? And if it is a guy that we are talking about, say it is a nickel defender, or maybe it's even a safety, that's content. But then who do you take out on the front seven, whether it be a defensive tackle or a linebacker, to then make up for the lost cause because you got to have somebody spine on 17.
Bear, on the other side of the football, listen, South Florida was really good against Boise State. This is a different challenge. DJ Lagway looked really good, as you would expect in the season opener, 15-18, 3 touchdowns, didn't even play in the second half. It's run the ball season, not ball, the ball, B-A-U-G-H, with Jaden Ball, 9 carries, 104 yards in the first game, 11.6 yards per carry. They ran it for 200. They were extremely well balanced. I just wonder how South Florida attacks this Gators offense. You're going to have to pick your poison here, I think. I am curious to see if Trey Wilson gets going this week. Had 5 catches for -4 yards, but had a touchdown. Kind of an interesting stat line. But are they able to really get him going? But, I mean, Bear, so many different guys got involved in the passing game last week, as you would expect in a game like that. How does Vernell Brown follow up making arguably the catch of the season? What he did a week ago. What's the status of Dallas Wilson? And again, I'm just excited to see Trey Wilson, who I think will really get going this week for the Gators. If you're South Florida, I think you've got to maybe kind of sell out a little bit and try to force some turnovers, because if you can just kind of sit back and let the Gators do their thing behind that big physical offensive line. Again, I respect what you did against Boise, but I love the matchup for Florida here on the offensive side. To me, Bear, I think they should be able to score, and they should be able to score often. South Florida, I think, will just have to keep up against a tough Gators defense.
Did I tell you that I put a way too big futures bet on one of the players you just named for winning the Heisman Trophy this year?
Would that be DJ Lagway?
That'd be Jaden Baugh. I love me some Jaden Baugh football.
Okay.
I love the way this guy plays. He is a man amongst boys. He is a killer. He is a threat. He is a Tonka truck that is running down the track. Get out of his way, because if you ain't stopping him. He was phenomenal on Saturday. He's been phenomenal in multiple signature matchups last season. I think that the best is still to come for him. There's a reason why I believe he is going to lead the SEC in rushing yards at the season's end. He is just everything that you want in this backfield. But I agree with you. The wide receiver play is going to be really beneficial. If Dallas Wilson doesn't go, and let's say that he's going to miss a little bit more time, 2, 3, 4 weeks, who is going to be the other playmaker to step on up? Is it TJ Abrams? He had 2 catches for 53 yards, including a big 32-yard grab. Is it the tight end Hayden Hansen? Is it Nashawn Montgomery? He had 2 catches, both for first down gains. Tony Livingston, how is he going to get involved? What you already mentioned, we haven't mentioned J. Michael Sturdivant, a dude that was brought in to be that physical receiver out of UCLA from a season ago. So who is going to be that secondary playmaker? Because you and I think can both agree, Vernell Brown has earned the right after what we saw in week 1 to kind of continue to build off of who he was. He was a 5-star talent coming out of the state of Florida. He was phenomenal in his first throughout training camp. Dallas Wilson was really the headliner because of who he was as a player in that spring game. But again, from the 5-star perspective, Vernell Brown is 1 in a million. Do you have somebody else that can go ahead and take over that game as a quality number 2? And also, I agree with you. How do you combat both sides if you're South Florida? Because you don't want to sell on the run and take away Jaden Baugh, because if DJ Lagway will take the tops off of you and just go for 40 yards down the field. And he could do that. He could do that with literally a flick of the wrist. But you also don't want to be staying back. You know what this game is going to remind me a lot of? What Baylor was facing off against with Auburn. You didn't want to sell out on the run, but also you couldn't sell out on the run because if you knew that those wide receivers could beat you over the top. So how do you make the adjustments, and how do you guarantee that on one side you're walking away feeling confident? I just don't know if that's possible in this game.
Bear, before we dive into picks and predictions, I want to ask you a simple question. Because I understand what South Florida did in week 1, but let's put some major respect on the Gators. Like, this is a team that you and I have both agreed with a healthy DJ Lagway all season long. This team is no doubt a college football playoff contender. Bear, should the Gators really be on upset alert this week? Like, are we – I have respect for Alex Golesh, South Florida. Are we making too much of this game? I just simply put, are we making too much of this? Is Florida actually on upset alert, or are we over-exaggerating a little bit?
So I want to give a shout out to another college football content creator. He does this every single week. It's called it's CF Budge. If you don't know who he is, does good work. Give him a follow on Twitter and TikTok. But he does this thing called the upset meter. And he has like 5 levels of it. Not concerned to it's happening. I think in level 3 is intrigued. That's where I'm at in this game. Because if Florida finds a way to make the same mental mistakes it did last year at times, especially in the Texas A&M game and the Miami game, they don't play better on the back end of the secondary, by all means, I'm intrigued that this could be at least something to watch. It's concerning because if you have a mobile quarterback, you have some talented playmakers, you have a defense that was able to shut down a playoff team from a season ago, despite not having a guy in Ashton Genty in the backfield. They forced turnovers. And again, it was against Long Island. It wasn't against this team that we're talking about that was a high-profile matchup. So maybe we're overselling how much change has come to Florida. But also, I don't think an upset is happening. I'm intrigued because of, let's just be real. You look at South Florida, they feel like a team that after the performance they put on Thursday night, down at Raymond James Stadium, they should be the favorites to go to the G5 level, the G5 representative as the college football playoff representative. But that doesn't mean that once you get to the dance, you're supposed to win multiple games. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm in agreement that I think Florida is certainly in that conversation for the college football playoff. Got to see a little bit more. So, in the great words of our friend CF Budge, who also does college football content, level 3, I'm intrigued.
That being said, Bear, let's lock in some picks and predictions for this game. Would you like to start, or you want me to lead us off?
I'll let you lead this one off.
Gotcha. So the reason I asked you, Bear, I'll be kind of short and sweet with it. The reason I asked you that question, I think it's interesting because I look at what South Florida did. They were impressive. Florida was obviously also very, very impressive, and I'm high on Florida this year. I mean, they're a 17.5-point favorite in this game, so it's like we're talking about this game a lot, but they're also more than a 2-touchdown favorite. I asked you the question, should Florida be on upset alert, or are we making a little bit more of this than we should be? Because I think we're making a little bit more of this than we should be. I may even throw in a late bet on Florida to cover 17.5. Like, I like the Gators here. I think Byron Brown is a fantastic player. He's going to get his in this game. He's going to be able to pop off a couple of runs, I think, and, probably hit some throws downfield. But at the end of the day, I trust Florida on both lines of scrimmage here, man. I think their front seven is going to get after him. I think he's going to be put in some much more uncomfortable spots than he was in week 1 against Boise State. And I just think top to bottom, Florida is just a better roster, man. Like, I don't want to, overthink this. And certainly it's college football. Anything can happen, no doubt. Like, I'm not saying it's like you. I'm intrigued with this. But I'm going with the better football team here, just top to bottom, the more deep football team. The team that's not even close, got the best players on their roster in this game. DJ Lagway, Jaden Ball on the offensive side, Vernell Brown, Trey Wilson, Pup Howard, Caleb Banks, Tyreek Sapp, all these other guys all throughout. I think Florida wins. I think Florida covers. I don't know if it's an official play for me yet. I think we're making a little bit much of this. I think the Gators on the home field come out. I think they play well, build off of last week. Give me Florida 34, South Florida 13. I think it's a game which Florida Bear, I think they pull away in the second half, maybe early on, maybe at halftime. It's a 10-point game, something like that. Whatever, but I think Florida is just vastly the superior team in this game. And I know it's a lot of fun to talk about because of what South Florida did against Boise. And you're right, they still very well may be the G5 representative. And Alex Golesh is a great coach. They'll have a great plan. I'm sure they're attacking it like they have nothing to lose. But Florida is going to come out, take care of their business. I think they'll be able to do kind of whatever they want on the offensive side. And defensively, their front seven will get after Byron Brown all afternoon. 34-13, I got the Gators on top.
I'm still intrigued with this game. I want to see more from the defensive line. I want to see more from the offensive line. Long Island is not a test where I'm going to know much about you. And you know what? That's fine. You got to win. You paid for the win. You dominated with a 55-0 victory. And you showed why DJ Lagway, fully healthy, is a threat to win the Heisman Trophy. And you're a threat to go to the college football playoff. South Florida is going to be a more challenging test. And the thing is, it's a cool way to look at the stepping stones, which you're reaching towards facing off against a defense like Texas in early October, because the games that you have after this are also going to be really potent. You go from Long Island to face off against South Florida, to face off against LSU, to then face off against Miami. And LSU and Miami's defense are two of the most improved units in college football this year. And then you get to face off against one of the elite units that is the Longhorns coming in later on. So how does this offense respond? I am in complete agreement with you on one thing. This is going to be a close battle in the first half. I actually see exactly this going the way it went for South Florida against Boise State. Maybe South Florida jumps out to an early lead. Then they come back and respond. Florida gets a field goal. It's a 3-point, maybe 7-point lead going into halftime. And then the better team wins. And the better team is Florida. And the more complete team is Florida. And the better quarterback that is on the roster is Florida. And the better offensive line is Florida. And the better defensive line is Florida. And the better defense is Florida. The one thing that we didn't talk about, despite only giving up 7 points, South Florida gave up 254 yards passing to Boise State with Maddox Madsen as their starting quarterback. DJ Lagway has weapons that would be immediately starting and all Mountain West players as freshmen in his third team offense. Nashawn Montgomery, you throw him out in Boise State, he's getting 150 receiving yards per game. Just that's how talented you are. That's going to take advantages. I agree that I think not only Florida wins, Florida covers. I'll be a little bit nicer. I'm going to say it's 38-13 final score. A little bit more close. Certainly a little bit more juice from, I think, South Florida's offense. But the Gators just the more complete team. They're not finding a way to lose in week 2.
Special teams too, Bear. Don't let them trot a quarterback out there on a punt and hit a deep shot on you. Billy, don't let special teams be a factor in this game. For the love of God. For the love of God, Billy. I don't want to talk about special teams on Sunday. So anyways, we're both going Gators, obviously, over South Florida. We'd love to get your thoughts. You agree with us? Do you disagree? Who comes out on top in the swamp on Saturday afternoon? Guys, that's going to do all for us. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Before we get out of here, I want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel, because as always, we are brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is getting you ready for the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Just pick a bet $5, and if it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. You can build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines, whatever your style. FanDuel's got you covered. The NFL season is almost here. The only question is, are you ready to play? Visit FanDuel.com/SECU to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/SECU to get in on the action today. Once again, guys, that's going to do all for us. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast where you get your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. For Cole the Bear Thompson, I'm Chris Phillips. We're signing off. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. We will catch you all on the other side.